Serious shortcomings in our border protection and biosecurity have been identified, but aren't being blamed for the outbreak of kiwifruit virus PSA. The Ministry of Primary Industries is promising to beef up protection. Its Director General Wayne McNee joins me now. Good morning, Wayne. Thanks very much for joining us this morning. You'd be pretty disappointed as the man in charge with the findings of this report.
Yeah, well, I commissioned this report to identify whether there were shortcomings in the system that we use to protect New Zealand from biosecurity risk. This report has identified shortcomings, and there are 6 recommendations, and I've committed to implementing them beginning immediately.
When you commissioned the report, did you expect 6 of these to come through?
Well, the reason for undertaking an independent report was to get somebody from outside the organisation to come in and look at the ways we could improve the system. Biosecurity is absolutely critical to New Zealand. I mean, this disease has caused a $400 million impact on the kiwifruit industry.
At this stage, so $400 million? It could be a great deal more. I mean, did you commission the report, though, because you were concerned that it would have been your ministry which was responsible for this PSA coming in?
Well, we may never know how PSA came in, and there are a variety of routes it might have come in by, but it was important to go back and have a look at the systems that we were using prior to PSA coming in and say, you know, can we improve these? It's so important for New Zealand.
So you don't think, I mean, what are the chances that it is failings at our borders which has allowed PSA to come in, as has been identified in this report?
Well, the fact is PSA did come in, so somehow it got across our borders. We don't know how, and we may never know how, but what this report is telling us, there are improvements we could make. There are 6 recommendations. One of the key ones is we need to work more closely with our industries. I mean, in this case, the industry knew that PSA outbreak was happening in Italy. We didn't have discussion with them about what the implications might be for New Zealand, and we've already signed up an agreement with the kiwifruit industry and others saying we're going to work more effectively together and look at what the risks are so we can make changes more quickly.
Is it going to cost money to put these recommendations into place?
It will cost a very small amount of money. It's really about educating people, our own staff, the industry, and changing some of the way we do things. There will be some cost, but it's minimal.
How much do you think this is a direct result of cutbacks in biosecurity frontline staff?
Well, the issues that have been raised here are about the way we operate in setting the standards for letting goods into New Zealand and the way that we implement those standards. So, you know, all of this goes back a couple of years, and you know, we are investing in resourcing at the border at the moment. We're recruiting more staff, but this is more about the way we work with industry, the processes we use, and it's about making sure everybody understands how to work together to make sure we minimise the chance of future incursions.
Are you expecting legal action from the kiwifruit growers?
I understand some growers are taking legal advice. You know, obviously, if there is action taken, we would defend that. But our view is the best way forward, and talking to the industry, most industry people believe this as well, is to focus on the future, implement these recommendations, and make sure that we minimise the chance of having any future incursions, be it in kiwifruit or any other industry.
Well, it certainly is probably the best way forward, but at the same time we have got an industry which has effectively been decimated to a large extent, facing the present estimate of 400 million odd. That cost could double over the next 15 years or so.
This has been a huge impact on the kiwifruit industry, and it just shows us how important biosecurity is. I mean, we're a trading nation. We export a huge amount of our primary sector goods. We have a lot of tourism. We can't close our borders, but we need to make sure we have really effective systems, and we work closely to make sure that those work as effectively as they possibly can.
All right, thank you very much, Wayne McNee, Director of the Ministry of Primary Industries. And listening to that was Neil Trebilco from the New Zealand Kiwifruit Growers Incorporated. Joins us now on the phone from Tauranga. Neil, how sure are you and your industry that this PSA crisis is a result of the failings which have been outlined in this report?
Firstly, good morning, Rawdon. Look, I think we have to say that the report does state that in terms of the findings that they have made, they haven't looked at how PSA has come to the country, so that what they're saying is that they can't say that the failings have caused the PSA incursion, but they're also not ruling that either. So it's not. I guess it's pretty silent on that.
But the report also does show that kiwi fruit from China came in 2010. That went to Te Puke. That pollen imports came in when it was thought that they couldn't carry PSA. Now we found out that they can. So the chances are that this is down to the failings identified in the review.
That's certainly a possibility, and we are, as Wayne McNee has referred and you referred to, is that we are taking some legal advice on that. In case, as growers, we do need to take some further actions on that. But look, can I say at the outset, Rawdon, and MPI deserves a huge amount of credit for requesting the review in the first place. That's not an easy thing to do, to have an independent review of your own organisation and the processes of your own organisation, knowing that there's been this huge impact on the industry. So look, we congratulate them for that. And as the Wayne McNee has said, really the real benefit of this report is in looking to the way forward to improve our biosecurity, because that's imperative for not only kiwifruit industry but all primary industries in New Zealand, and imperative for New Zealand as a whole.
That absolutely, and I agree with that. But at the same time, there must be an awful lot of farmers who are saying somebody's got to take responsibility. It's good that we plan and that we look forward to try and make sure that the possibility of how this happened is ruled out for the future, but somebody's got to take responsibility for this enormous cost.
Yeah, look, unfortunately PSA is here, and again, as Wayne has said, that we don't know whether we'll ever be able to pin it down, and unless you can pin it down, I'm not sure that you're actually going to pin it on anybody in particular. But look, one of the deficiencies that the report does point to is the importation of pollen, and the industry was surprised to learn that pollen had been imported to New Zealand, and a bit dismayed by that, I have to say. And I have to say that if the industry had known that prior to, then the outcome of that may have been different. Indeed, the biosecurity may not have occurred either. So, you know, we don't know whether pollen's the cause for that, but we were certainly a bit dismayed to learn about that at the time.
Now, the recommendations, the ministry has said, will all be implemented. At the same time, you said that these findings have got to be urgently addressed. How confident are you that this is going to happen in the time frame which it needs to happen, which is now?
One of the key learnings from this is that there needs to be a whole lot more coordination. I suspect probably within the department, and MPI is a fairly large department, as you would appreciate, but also between the various stakeholders. And the report does identify the industry, of course, and also plant and food, which also can have an active role in helping to assess risk.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's certainly what Wayne McNee was focusing on as well. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Neil Trebilco from the New Zealand Kiwifruit Growers Incorporated.
You're welcome.